Like,
Mhm.
you start writing shit when you're 13. You know, you're writing your poetry. Do you still have any? Do you have any examples of your 13-year-old poetry that you could spit?
I remember one.
Yo, feel free
I
to.
remember. Yeah, they asked me why I'm vicious. I said it's politicians who made me who I am to fill my nutrition. Mass extermination of this world is what they vision. I'm simply here on a mission. I failed, so I'm in prison. If God gave us the worst, then God's gift is a curse. Seeing my people starving over leaving me stealing purses. Working, spitting these verses, I asked, is it really worth it? I'll sell my soul to the devil, but I failed to write in cursive. Something like that, you know?
So you
Deep
came up.
rooted.
That's like a 13-year-old young Easy's,
Yeah.
like a really young Easy's voice. Like, you were actually like, I gotta just ask, what kind of like led to you feeling this kind of way? Like, what kind of state of mind were you in? Because that seems like some heavy shit that's going. I don't want to like go too much into the soup or whatever you don't want to talk about, but I think it's always interesting to understand the progression of an artist that leads to it. Because you got a certain darkness in your music today, right? Was that always something that you embraced, that you were like drawn to? And like, I love the dark shit myself with my musical taste. Like, I love this shit. So I don't say it in a negative way. I think it's a cool artistic expression. I guess I'm just curious, like, because that's heavy, man. There's no way 13-year-old me could have come up with such political shit. Like, that sounds like you were politically fucking in tune as a young adolescent. How does one get to that point?
Well, I studied while kids were watching cartoons. I was watching the news. The rap there,
Whoa.
but uh, I don't know. I really got into what's going on in the world, you know, at a young age. Like I felt like I understood my purpose at a young age. So when you understand your purpose, you want to dig into it. You want to understand, like, okay, I know what the purpose is. How do I get there? It's like a catalyst. What you gonna do? How you gonna do it? And where you gonna go?
Yeah.
That's it. So I always thought like that at a young age. So the darkness stems from the rock influence because I used to listen to rock as a child.
Yeah. That rock stuff.
Marilyn Manson, Green Day,
Okay.
you know, what inspired me to. So I like to embrace the good into the dark. So it's like a yin and a yang. I like to mix the two. You
Uh,
get what I mean?
I
Just
do.
dabble into the third dimension and then dabble into the fourth.
I think it's fascinating, honestly. Were you reading a lot when you were younger?
Yeah, yeah. Read a lot. Books, books, books. Didn't really watch much but the news. And cartoons, I kind of, yeah, I watch my
What's your
Saturday
favorite?
morning.
What's your favorite
For
one
sure.
from the Saturday morning days?
Oh man,
Uh,
that's a hard question, guys.
Gee, I was big on Sonic Underground just because of the theme.
That's yo. That's one of the best fucking themes. Let's be real.
Fox Kids, oh my god.
Bro, remember Ed and Eddie, bro?
mm,
Mm.
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, that was the best, bro.
But
Man.
that's crazy. And so, what kind of stuff were you reading when you were young? I'm an avid reader, so anybody that says reading, I get excited.
Uh, one thing I want to talk about reading, first book, definitely the Bible.
Okay.
Reason I grew up in a pretty, I don't want to say Christian or anything, religious family. So I read the Bible. I tried to understand it more because I felt like what the Bible's saying has more to it, you know. So I was a child that liked to like know more, dig deep, you know, really get into the roots of why is this, why is that, why is that stool there, why is that piano playing these keys, you know,
Mm.
like I, I was that kind of child, you know. I was just like I wanted to dig into things. This can't be without this, you know, whatever. So that was my thought process growing up.
So I think it's crazy though, that you actually you're one of the first guys I've talked to since I've started doing this interview thing that has definitely been that invested in like learning from such a young age. Like, that's, to me, it's impressive. But like, all right, so you've already started learning. You've got a good sense of the world at 13. You're writing some poetry down. Are you like rapping it, or is it spoken word, or are you just like are you like sharing it with people at this point?
Sharing it, yeah. I'm just sharing my journey. Pretty much what you hear in my
Well,
music is my
so what I'm saying is the poetry you were writing when you were young, are you sharing that with other people at that time, or are you writing it for like yourself? Like, when do you start migrating into, yo, I'm actually gonna pursue this more music serious thing?
uh, that happened at hmm, that happened at 18, 21. It happened at 21.
So what's
Sorry.
going on then between like 13 and 21? You go through high school. I guess are you making music even if it's not for like serious?
But it's more for myself, you know. So I would release it, but it wouldn't be like anything that I would want to expose to the world. I'll just put it on for myself. Whoever clicked it, whatever, you know.
Okay.
And that's what generated the fan base because people liked what I was doing, you know. So it started to get serious at some point.
So I think
And to
there's
the to 21.
so I think it's really interesting that somewhere in your teenage years you got to the part where you're actually releasing songs. And I say this because I mean, making an album, let's say, or making a song, not everybody actually knows how to do that. So how did you figure it out? Like, what did you actually do? Did you have a studio at home? Did your boy have a studio? Tell us a bit about your teenage music making process, like that logistics of it.
Well, like I said, let's go back to what we were talking about for the Sunday cleaning. Get back to the root of music. So I just understood the root of that music and understood what music was about. So I realized that everything I needed to say, I could do it, you know, because I could do it with the language, with music. So that's why I make music. It's generally for people to understand the story, you know, understand the struggles, because I feel like everyone goes through the same thing I'm going through. I'm just expressing it in a different way.
But like,
You feel me?
I definitely do. And I think it's super present in all of your music. But I guess what I'm curious about more is like, how did you literally record it? Like, did you have access to studio gear at that time? Because releasing songs as a teenager is fucking impressive. And that's something that you should, I would love to hear more about, like how you literally, did you meet beat makers online? Were you jacking beats? Like what was going on in your world at that time that let you get these songs out?
I worked at I recorded at this youth program called MBS,
Okay.
and they are a community center for the youth to go there, book their time, and record stuff. So I had that aspect, and I also had my home studio. So I went out, bought myself a mic, bought myself a few equipments, and started recording with my Mac.
Yeah, that's crazy. And where did you get the beats from? Were you producing them yourself?
The beats were from the producer from the MBS studio.
Okay.
So I would sit there, they'll produce it for me, lead it in direction, and then magic happens.
And it's pretty cool that you say that because I know that there are several programs like that for adolescents out there where they can like pop by the youth center and there is like a studio set up and there are engineers on deck. So I think that kind of stuff is absolutely worth sharing with the world because then more people do become aware of the options because that gave you, you're talented today, right? And part of that is the length of time that you put into your craft, becoming better at this. And so having that opportunity, and the other half of it is, dude, man, your level of ambition at like 13 is insane. So I don't want to take away from like who you are and the efforts you put in. But I'm just saying, to let people know what good options are available is always a positive.